Hey, what's up guys, it's Samuel G. And back with another video on a new topic, closely RPG related. And it's about 7C second edition. So I've got to know about 7C through Null Inquisitor. Actually, I strongly recommend you go on his channel. He has the most extensive, well-made playlist about 7C. Everything you need to know is there. Best resource online for sure. He actually started his channel with that, and I think I actually told him you should do that, and he did it. Like all the module, all the source book, everything for first edition. But recently, um, John Wick did a Kickstarter for 7C second edition, and I think it became the most prolific Kickstarter in history, if I'm correct. And since I always wanted to get involved in 7C, because I like the theme, the genre, as a swashbuckling, pirate game. I was really intrigued by the cinematic, dramatic hero point thing that first edition provided. But when I saw the second edition, I said, oh, you know what, let's do this. And then I received the quick start rules, and I was amazed by what they did with the rules, because they actually transform what was a traditional RPG task resolution system mechanic in first ed became a collaborative storytelling RPG. And now that's interesting to note, because so I received it today. First thing first, I received it today, and the book is half of the book. A big chunk, half of the book is setting material. It's fluff, setting stuff, because there's a huge and deep setting in 7C, and the other half is rules. So I went through the rules today, read it all, and I was super happy with what I've read. It is amazing. They did a great job, and what they actually achieved with that second edition is the perfect, in my book. Burning Wheel does it as well, but Burning Wheel is Burning Wheel. I talked about it many times. In terms of creating a balance between traditional RPG with skill-based resolution, skill and threats resolution, dice pool, D10, your character progress over time and all that. So you have that, but you also have the storytelling component, where the players actually have some agencies over the story, or what's happening and how it works, and the game make use of subsystems to do that. And so that's the collaborative storytelling part. And the player also create what they call a story, and there is a subsystem there for character advancement. So the player agency over his own story will dictate his skill progression, threat progression, and all that. So that it's not a level thing. It's a storytelling progression dictated by the player. That's dope. That's really dope. So they created, from what I've read, it's the best balanced game in terms of storytelling, collaborative storytelling, and traditional RPG. It is a perfect, like, it's right in the middle. So it's a really interesting animal in that sense. It is not OSR, it is not indie, it is not GM-less, it is not pure storyteller game, it is not traditional RPG, it is right in the middle. Burning Wheel, actually is probably somewhere there as well, but 7C is cleaner, it's not over design, I would say it's you know, it's simpler, you know, so it will allow for more player to discover these kind of gaming. It is easier to get into, way easier to get into, and it is simple enough. It is not super deep RPG. It's definitely not as deep and intricate as Burning Wheel in that sense, but it has a lot of potential. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a review one day. I don't like reviews, so it's gonna happen one day. But what I want to do is actually discuss the controversy, because, you know, I was discussing with Null Inquisitor, and he mentioned how, you know, some people didn't like second edition, and they just never backed it on Kickstarter, or they left the Kickstarter, and then they decide to stick to the first ed, and which is, you know, which is okay, comprehensible, but it's kind of a controversy in itself, because the game has been so popular on Kickstarter, and the job they did is so great and elegant and interesting and modern. It is a true, what I would call, modern RPG. I want a new word, you know. It's not, let's forget about indie. It's not indie. Let's forget about cooperative storytelling. It is, but it's not just that, it's also RPG. So, you know, let's call it what it is. It's a modern RPG in a true sense of the word, like really, because the thing is that I'm gonna come back on this in other videos, but one of the first sentence I read opening the book is, this is a cooperative storytelling game. It's not, this is a role-playing game. It is a cooperative storytelling game. And I was like, yes, it is. You know, a lot of RPG, you start the book, you open the book in the first section to describe what it is, what's an RPG, or what is a game, you know, and you have like a traditional task resolution game where the GM tells you what happens and all that, and it says at the beginning, this is a collaborative storytelling, everybody tells a story together, and you're like, no, it's not. It's like, absolutely not. Where do you have a rule somewhere like that helps for that collaboration? You know, there's something that reinforces it, so we understand. You know, I'm not stupid. I understand why they say that, because there's 5 people playing a game and there's a story emerging from that. But when the player roll the dice and pass or fail, he doesn't do anything for the story. And you know, I kill him with my sword. I have a 26, and, you know, it doesn't do anything. So then the GM ends up, you know, telling everything. So in that game, in that type of game, where there's a truly collaborative thing going on, and where the resolution mechanic is built for that, the game can actually call itself like that. And I was like, yes, that's good, it's great, it's actually true. And then a little later in the book, the game says something else, and I was like, yes, that's true. Oh yes, I was asking myself, the game says, because the theme, one of the theme, you know, there's many theme in Seven Seas. You have like romance and revenge, and you have like political intrigue and adventuring and piracy, you know, stuff like that. So it's like 4 or 5 different themes that is close to the genre, or actually the setting and the intention of the game. So the game has some intention, and one of the intention is political intrigue. And I was like, and love and romance, and I was like, how the fuck do you do that? So I go in the skill section. Yeah, when a game says my theme is that, I'm like, bullshit. All right, tell me how you do that shit. My theme is political intrigue. I want to see that. I want to see how you do that. So I go to the skill section. I'm looking for some diplomacy skill, right? Like, or politics maybe, or, you know, because there's not a lot of skill. There's not a lot of skill in 7C. Just a few of them, you know. So I'm looking at it, and like a fourth of the skill list is for political intrigue. So I'm like, so you have probably something like 4 skills that does it. I'm like, it's just gonna be so your theme of political intrigue is gonna be reinforced with a skill check, just a skill resolution. I'm like, I'm not quite sure about that. So I keep reading, and and there is a concept in 7C that I really like, is the idea of sequences. So you have two kinds of sequences, and whenever you have a risk in a game, now that's become vocabulary, 7C vocabulary, but basically whenever you have an important situation that will need to roll the dices, you the GM call for a risk and said, oh, it's risky. So you have two type of sequences. That's gonna be the moment where everybody roll the dice together and actually where the player agency happens. You have the action sequences. So whenever you do something physical, you know, and so that's a subsystem for that. And then you have another subsystem, which is another sequence, and it's called dramatic sequence, and these are completely different. So the action sequence is like something that you do that is physical, so it's a step-by-step procedure. I want to walk through that room on fire, and I want to reach that door to escape, or I want to jump over the top of the building to that top of the building to escape the guards. And so you do what you have to do about that, and which I will describe in another video. And then the dramatic sequence, and this is where the political intrigue and the love romance theme is supported in the game, is actually an intellectual sequence of stuff going on. You're in a party and you want to bribe people, or you're in front of a crowd and you want to convince them to follow you to war, or you spend a week at court and you want to make sure by the end of the week people are on your side, you know. So you can spend a lot of time going on. The scaling of the thing is different, and everything is different in that sense. So and then you get to the mechanic of the dice. So I was like, okay, so the game is actually supporting this theme with subsystems, and I was super happy to see that. I was like, yeah, man, okay, nice. So this game is actually doing it. They don't have fluff stuff and theme that are there. You know, there's no fluff and there's no theme that is fluffed out in the book. And then you realize that there's one skill in the skill list to do that. It's not just fluff. This game is real to the bone. Like, everything that is written there is supported. There's actually a special kind of sequence for boat battle, sailing battle, because it's a pirate game. So there's gonna be some ship fighting one another. There's a subsystem for that. There's a subsystem for magic, because there's magic in this system. So all these subsystems that the game provides to support either the theme or what you're trying to do in a collaborative manner like that is great. Now I'm gonna explain in another video, what's the difference between the task resolution and the collaborative mechanic. But now I just wanted to say that I'm really pleased with the product and what they did with the game, and it's really inspiring game that I really want to try for sure. Now what I'm gonna do, this is an announcement. After 14 minutes, I'm gonna try to do a mini series, not a series of describing the game, just talking about the controversy surrounding it, like why people don't want to get into what's the difference between the first and the second, and why people don't want to get into the second, or why people prefer the second over the first and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to take a look at that situation and see what there is to be said about that, and expose that kind of behavior or attitude in gaming, where one style doesn't want to get into the other, because I am part of that as well. I prefer second. I don't want to be part of the first. I don't want to be part of that GM Fiat, bullshit of, GM tells you what to do. So I am in the second camp. Sorry, non-linguist, I don't want to insult you. I'm just venting. But on the other side, these people on the first, in the old schooler, or the people that doesn't want to be part of that modern era of gaming, or at least that modern trend. It's not better because it's new, it's just a trend. So that new trend of sharing the story together and actually back it up with rules, why people, what's wrong with that thing going on there, right? Well, because there is in French we say nerf de la guerre, but I don't know in English what you say, but there is a point there, an important rupture between two style of gameplay, and 7th second edition versus the first versus second edition is a good example of that rupture. So I'm gonna, maybe in the next video, it might gonna be just a two-parter actually, so in the next video I'm gonna try and expose that. All right, thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.